everybody. The twins, the Bopsy twins.
Just gonna fire off a quick message to Lorna. I don't know if anybody's heard anything, but we'll get going regardless. Just give it my due diligence.
You forgot, probably. Gotta get back in the office. Oh.
Okay, Councillor Omaka will be with us shortly, but perhaps we could get started while she logs on. So first of all, welcome staff, welcome council, and welcome any members of the public that might be joining us. And I believe there's a slight error on the website as well. The start time still says 5 o'clock there. So I guess that could be why. So a couple folks maybe didn't catch on right away, but it is 4 o'clock on the agenda that we're supposed to be here. And welcome to the special committee of the whole, Tuesday, February 1st, 2022 at 4 p.m. First of all, I'd like to welcome, well, I did welcome, but acknowledge that this meeting is taking place on the unceded territories of the Subasik, translated meaning people of the lake, our First Nations neighbors who we live next to and work, play, and live happily together as neighbors. So this meeting is being transmitted virtually, electronically via council chambers located on 39 South Shore Road, Lake Couch in BC. And boy, am I off my spiel tonight. But we've all heard it enough to know what's going on. So with that, I'd like to call this meeting to order at 4:04 p.m. and ask for any introduction of late items. Councilor McGonigal.
If I can just add dates for virtual CBRD budget meetings, public input, please.
Okay. Throw it out our new business E if we can. Anybody else? Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, there was a request by the fire department for some money from council, and council had referred it to budget. So under general discussions, we'll show that letter when we're dealing with the general fund.
General fund.
You may want to increase the tax rate to accommodate the request.
May or may not. The discretion of council. All right. So anybody else? Okay. With that, I'll call for an approval of the agenda. Moved by Councillor Sandhu, second by Councillor Austin. Any further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. Thank you. That can move us right down to new business. So here we are tonight to review a few more things with the budget and possibly move forward with at least approving one or two portions of this. Basically anything to do with the parcel taxes. Hopefully if when we have those discussions, we could get a motion for each one. That one's a little bit time sensitive, so staff can prepare the appropriate bylaws. General fund and 5-year financial estimates. We do have a little more time on those if we need to go to another meeting on that. So we'll just take our time and go through the most important parts in the order that they are presented to us. So with that, I will move to new business, A, sewer and water 5-year fund estimates. Mr. Fernandez or Ms. Gill, would you care to take us through where we're at and remind us exactly where we left off?
And we can leave that to Ms. Gill. She can handle this part.
Oh, good evening. So the sewer and water parcel tax amounts are the changes between option 1 and option 2. So option 1 shows in the sewer parcel tax a reduction to $200, an increase of $50 from the previous year, and also an increase of $25 in 2026. And option 2 is the way that it was originally presented, with a $100 increase in 2022. And it's been amended to show a $25 increase from $250 to $275 in the year 2026. So basically the change in 2022 is a reduction in the parcel tax between option 1 and 2 is a reduction of $87,000. So $50 correlates to about $87,000 in parcel tax revenue.
Mr. Fernandez.
Yeah, I think it's easier if we say that the increase is $50 this year and another 50 next year, not a reduction. I mean, I think people would take that the wrong way. So instead of going the $100 this year, council had wanted to look at a different option, which is splitting the difference between this year and next.
All right, and just a reminder to everybody that we asked for the 2 options because of the project was being bumped ahead a year. Originally, it was hoped to get started in 2022 with an awarding of grant funding, but that's not going to happen until 2023, as the administrator was informed through the granting agencies. So there you have it. Councillor Sandhu, go ahead.
I'd like to make a motion just to get discussion on the floor. So I'm making a motion for option 2 for the sewer utility fund financial plan for 2022 to 2026.
Okay. Looking for a seconder then. Seconded by Councillor Austin. Okay, let's have some discussion. Go ahead, Councillor Sandhu.
Thank you. Reviewing these numbers the last few weeks, I found that if we can put away $87,000 in 2022 into our sewer reserve fund, it's something that we have to do. With $1,700 in that account, that doesn't do anything, and we have got to start. So I feel going to 250 from 200 is feasible overall throughout a year of people and their income and whatnot. It's not much of an increase, but it's a substantial revenue increase that we need in our reserve. Thank you.
Okay, just before we go to Councillor Austin, Mr. Fernandez, is Councillor Omaka.
Yeah, she's in.
She's in. Councillor Vomaka, can you hear us?
Give her a minute, I think.
Councillor Vomaka, can you hear us?
Yes, I can. I'm just
Okay.
turning things on.
Thank you for managing to make it. Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I'm just trying to get.
Okay. So while you're doing that, just in case you missed anything, we are down to the new business section now, and that's where the items of discussion are contained. And we're at the discussion point because Councillor Sandhu made a motion to go with option 2 for the sewer utility fund, which would make it a $250 increase. And let's go back to Councillor Sandhu. It'd be preferable if we just dealt with sewer and then went to water next, because they're two separate items. So this is a motion to move option 2 for the sewer utility fund, if that's okay, just to be clear for staff.
Yes.
So, and Councillor Vomaka, option 1 was to start in 2022 at $200. So that's where we left off. And we've had one person leave a comment, and now we're going to Councillor Austin. Councillor Austin, go ahead.
Thank you. Yes, I also agree. I know it seems a tough pill to swallow at times, but I do believe we have to put as much money away as possible for sewer, the way this town is growing, with the number of houses being built and going to be built. And we really need to upgrade our sewer. And I was hopeful that we would get the grant, be able to get the grant this year, but unfortunately we won't be hearing about it till next year. So the more money we can put away, the better for everyone. So I agree with option 2.
Okay, Councillor McGonigal, and thank you for, although, we've heard you speak before on this, I really would like to hear about from everybody tonight. So go ahead.
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank staff for bringing back the 2 options as I had requested, and it shows the impact moving forward to 2026. My thinking of incremental increases was mainly on the delay of the granting procedure, A, and B, the impact of CBRD budget coming forward this year, possible 12.8% increase in the town of Lake Cowichan's contribution, mainly towards the regional emergency plan, some transit increases. So I was looking for some opportunity for a lessening of tax impact. That was my incline towards the incremental increase. I do understand the need for asset management, but with the delay in the grant, I thought it prudent to give us at least that option. So unfortunately, I appreciate the comments, but I can't support a full increase at this time, but the will of this body is the will that I will abide by.
Thank you, Councillor McGonigal. Councillor Vomaka.
Are you seeing me on the screen?
Got you now, yeah.
Okay, perfect. Even better. Can you hear me? I guess so. Thank you.
Yes, we can.
So what we're looking at then, if I'm right, is the sewer utility fund on its own, and whether it be option 1 or option 2.
Yes.
Okay. And so the only difference then is the first year of whether we go the increase to the 250 of 2022. And then it's the same all the way across the board to 2026. So the only difference is the increase to either 2 this year or 250.
Correct. Yeah.
Correct. Okay. And I think at the last meeting that when I was speaking to our finance about us, when you look here, we have 3 different years after this year of doing the 250 with no increases at all. And I think there needs to be a small increase each year. And so I am inclined with going with option 1 of the 200 with small increases, which of course will be up to the next city council to decide. But I would like to see the option 1, please.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, so for my part, it's a tough pill to swallow, but for much the same reasons as my other 2 members of council that would like option 2. I have to go that route myself too. And I do understand Councillor McGonigal's comments about the CVRD budget increases going up, but and just a small part of me that tips the scale for me is we can't hold back projects like this or putting away money for our assets for the sake of that budget all the time, not all the time, at times. So I think it's more looking after what we have to do first and lessening the burden at the end of the day. So yeah, I'll be supporting option 2 as well. That being said, is there any more comments?
Councilor Sandu.
Councilor Sandu, go ahead.
Thank you. I just wondered if staff could explain what the sewer capital reserve fund is, and as to what the importance of us with the increases that's needed and what that money it can be allocated for.
Can be allocated to any sewer capital.
So you said at our last budget meeting that any project to take money out of this has to be minimum $30,000 project or 20,000.
Oh,
sorry,
no, there was no such. Well, capital has to be at least 10,000.
10,000. Okay. And we have a number of water. We have a number of issues around our community that haven't been able to be looked at because of the financials. So I think it's important that we look at what this of $87,000 can possibly bring to some areas that are in dire needs of their infrastructure redone. So thank you.
Anybody else? Okay, so the motion on the floor is to move the approval of option 2 for the sewer utility fund financial plan with the parcel tax going to $250 next
Option
year.
1. I think that's option 1.
Option one is
Oh,
$200.
sorry. Yeah, I got it mixed up. I'm going back to yeah, you're right.
Whew.
My apologies.
It's okay, keeping me on my toes. So the motion is on the table for that. It's been duly discussed. Unless I see any more last minute hands, so I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? I'm voting in favor. All those opposed? 2. Would you like your names recorded? Councillor McGonigal, Councillor Austin, or Wamaka. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody, for that one. Okay.
That was, Your Worship, that was carried, right?
Carried, yes. 3-4, 2 opposed. All right, so now we can go to the water utility fund financial plan for 2022 to 2026. with consideration given as well to the, or Mr. Fernandez, would you like the total budget for that fund, or we just did that, didn't we?
Yeah, you did.
That's clear enough for you? Okay. So now we go to the Water Utility Fund Financial Plan, 2022 to 2026, option 1 or option 2? Who would like to start? Ooh, Councillor McGonigal, go ahead.
I don't think the parcel tax for the water has changed in the two that I can see. I think we were just looking at incremental increases within the sewer fund as directed to staff from the last meeting. So it would be as presented.
Yeah, okay.
I think
Thank you.
we
You caught
all-
me on that one.
Oh, no, all good.
They're both the same.
We all agree that by depleting our water surplus to enable us to do the water treatment plant, that there is a need to replenish that. And I will use the same argument, but I know it is in vain. Again, I was hoping for incremental increases, but this one I did not ask for substantial information on that. I will be supporting this one in the water fund.
Is that a motion, Councillor McGonigal?
I will move it to get it on the floor.
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
Thank you very much. Councillor Vomaka or Councillor Sandhu, Councillor Sandhu, you seconding? Then I'll go to Councillor Vomaka.
What were you looking for? Just for input?
Yeah,
Yeah,
on
okay.
the water utility fund.
Okay, because you know me, I'm a person of very small words. I'm okay with this because I know we have depleted our water fund and we need to build it back up. We got a state-of-the-art water treatment plant here and we need to make sure that it runs properly. So I am in favor of this one.
All right, any other hands over here in the far side? Okay, no, oh, Councillor McGonigal, go ahead.
And if we just look at the numbers that are being transferred from the parcel tax, that will go forward to the longevity of the asset management towards replenishing replacement costs. As we see the price increase on construction and construction materials, the replacement of that will be considerably more than what we paid when it was built. So again, with asset management, it will be a cumbersome budget process for any upcoming councillors to have to deal with. Not only looking at current states, but future states and replacement costs and how to, with just property taxes, accommodate that asset management. I do not envy future councils moving forward to try to balance needs, wants, and services, because some services will suffer in the future if tax increases don't accommodate that asset management. So, and I'm no accountant, but I think I've been here quite a while and have known the process from relying on strictly grants to being mandated to have asset management to go forward for that grant application is putting small communities in a dire state with that only source of revenue. I think the whole system has to be looked at personally at property taxes and how they accommodate the majority of services that are provided by local government, not senior levels of government. So there's my rant, and I thank you for accommodating me.
No, and well said. So far, that seems to have fallen on deaf ears. I shouldn't say that. I believe in the last UBCM, there was a little bit of conversation, but nothing proving that they're going to move forward. I don't see many more handfuls of grants coming forward. Anybody else on that? Okay, then I'll call the question on the approval of the Water Utility Fund Financial Plan for 2022-2026. All those in favor? And opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries. Thank you very much. Next, we move on to General Fund 5-year financial estimates. Mr. Fernandez or Ms. Gill.
Yeah, well, basically, I think we've gone through this. The numbers for 21 have been updated to reflect some of the adjustments that have been made. And as you can tell, the increase for this year is projected at 4.5%. And over the next 4 years, it'll be 3% per year. And really, it's up to you how you want to deal with this issue of the tax increase.
I knew you'd be there, Councilor McGonigal. Go ahead.
Well, I think we may want to wait until the presentation of the fire department request before we approve any tax increase.
If you
But if
want to
I
see
might
that,
just say, with 5-year financial plans, it's more of a hourglass looking into the future. 4.5% this year to accommodate some of the projects that we're looking at, and estimates of 3 in the next upcoming 4 years will change when the budget process comes in 2026.
Yeah.
I'm sure there'll be other options for the new council to look at, improvements, and perhaps more than a 3% increase. But until the fire department one, I think we should just wait for the tax increase.
Okay. So, yeah. Because for 2022. Okay, so should we move C, go to C and then do B? That works better for everybody? Yeah. Okay, so let's move right into C then. And there's, before we go there, there is the letter from the fire department. And then we can deal with whether or not we add that in somewhere or not in the 2022 numbers. No specific amount, is it? No.
no, basically up to 10,000 is what they're looking for.
And I'm looking for hands if somebody wants to speak to this. Councillor Austin and then Councillor Sandu.
I was a fireman myself at one time in Honeymoon Bay many moons ago, and I do appreciate all the work they've done. I do think we have to be careful. We're trying to cut things and not, I don't know what to say, not waste money. I do support this to a point, but I think we have to consider where we're going to find these funds, and if there are other things within the fire department that may need these funds that are more important. I guess we need a bit more discussion on that.
Councillor Sandu.
Well, I would like to find the funds. I think that the amount of fundraising that the fire department does on behalf of, you know, the town of Lake Cowichan and restoring things and whatnot and all that work, I think that I appreciate what they do outside their scope and how serious they are with what they present to us and whatnot. And I think that this this fire truck number 1 is an important part of the legacy of the fire department in Lake Cowichan. And they have their reasons, and I agree with their reasons for why they're wanting to rebuild it and whatnot. So if I'm in favor of this up to $10,000, if we can find the funds.
Thank you. Councillor McGonigal.
Thank you very much. And I know this letter has gone out to many other service groups and organizations in the community to try to accommodate the amount that they're looking for. I have a couple of questions through you, if I may. First, to finance. On the building that is currently there, was there a financial contribution from the town last year towards that? That's my first question.
I don't think so. No.
That was all fundraised by the fire department?
No, there was a financial contribution towards it last year. I'd have to look at the exact number. I think it might have been around 12,500, but I'm not sure. I'd have to
Yeah, no,
check
you're right.
that.
There was a contribution.
Thank you. And just to carry on, if I may, considering this is a piece of equipment and $10,000 would not impact the equipment reserve to an extent where a large purchase could not be made in the future, would it be possible to accommodate a contribution from equipment reserve towards the restoration?
The answer would be no.
Can you elaborate on the reasonings?
Well, because it's not an piece of equipment for which the contributions were made to the reserve funds. And there was no contribution made towards this project at any given time. And they have their own reserve fund, and the fire department, the reserve fund is a fund that belongs to all three areas, area FI and the town. So for the town to take any monies out of that would require the approval of the three areas. And they have big dollar items that they plan down the road.
No, for sure. And so just so I understand this, this piece of equipment was not within the equipment reserve to begin with, so could not be accommodated for restoration. Is that correct?
Correct. And that's why you've got this letter, because they're looking for a contribution outside of the fire department and outside of the reserve funds.
Last question, if I may, through to Ms. Gill. $10,000 would be how much of a percentage increase?
Just under one.
Just under, yeah, should be under one. So 1% is roughly $23,000. So yeah, it'd be under 0.5%.
Okay, I have just a quick comment. Just because I feel we're being a little heavy on the taxation hand this year. And, you know, I'm just wondering if to ask this question, just to plant a seed. I'm thinking the taxpayers of the town of Lake Cowichan support the Lake Cowichan Fire Department very well with the equipment that they are able to purchase and the facility they're in and all that. So, you know, if I was going to support this, I would be asking to find the $10,000 within the budget, and not to pick on anybody, but say snow removal or something like that. If staff could find the $10,000 somewhere within the existing budget, I could support this. Councillor Bomaka.
Thank you. I'm kind of on the fence in between the two. I do appreciate that the fire department is bringing some history back here. The 12.5 for the building, and now the additional of 10, which is 22,500, which I think finance just said comes to just about a 1%. And I have to stop with and think about, you know, we go back to always saying our wants and our needs, and the needs of having new fire equipment. I don't think anyone would balk at the increase. I think when I look at the restoration, it's a want, and it can be done over time. It's not imperative that it is done this year in our budget. And so if we could find that 10,000 somewhere in the budget, even though that might take away from something else, but to increase the taxes, again, I would have to say not this year.
I have one more question for staff. Okay, go ahead, Councillor Sandhu, I'll hold.
I'll actually let you speak and then I'll have to say something after.
Okay, thank you then. So I was just curious through the staff that the funds that were distributed back to our fire department from the work they did in the interior and the fires, could that have been used for this project?
Yes, it could have been, but they have had other planned expenditures.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Go ahead, Councillor Sandhu.
Thank you. I don't have it in front of me. What was our total snow removal costs for 2021?
I don't think it was smoked. Do we have that number? It should be shown on the financial statements.
It was almost $25,000 last year.
So I'd like to make a motion that we take $10,000 from the 2022 snow removal budget. And I'm not sure of the wording, sorry. And direct those funds to the restoration of Fire Engine 1 as a donation from the town of Lake Cowichan.
Okay, do we have a seconder for that? Councillor Vomaka, are you seconding?
No.
Okay, the second then.
Question.
Is there a seconder? Just for a point of order, the mayor shouldn't be seconding things, should he? No,
So, okay,
The mayor is most certainly allowed to second motions.
never been put in this position. Seeing as how I planted the seed, I feel obligated to second that motion for discussion. Thank you. Councillor Vomaka.
thank you.
Supposed to,
I think we need to go back to the finance to ask this. I thought in the snow removal budget, when we decided that any funds that were left over, they were going to go into a surplus. Can we just take money out of there, being that we already passed a motion as council that that money would remain in a reserve account for snow removal equipment is my question.
Staff?
Yeah, my understanding is that we are asking, the request is that we reduce the snow removal budget by $10,000. So we're not taking out of reserve funds, we're just reducing the amount allocated to snow removal for 2022. Unless I am misreading that. I think that was the intent.
The intent of the motion was to do that and reallocate that $10,000. And question through to staff, if I may, is there actually a snow removal reserve fund? There is.
There is,
Okay.
but
Okay,
very
thank you.
small.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, any more hands on this topic, on that motion?
I do.
Councilor McGonigal?
I understand the intent of the motion, trying to accommodate the request. I believe the snow removal contingency fund is important for any climate emergencies that may occur. We did have significant snowfall earlier, and I believe we're not done. I would not be able to support a removal of funds from that contingency towards this project. I would hope if we were going to contribute anything, we could find it in another allocation, whether it be a tax increase of 0.5 or whatever the intent would be. I do also feel that there is significant community support for this project. And given the amount that has already been fundraised, that they are closer than can be expected that they would be on the amount that they're required. I might suggest a pause on this and waiting until June perhaps for an amendment of the budget if need be to finalize that contribution on the amount that they might be short. I cannot support removing from the snow removal, unfortunately. I'm sorry to say that.
It's okay. And we'll go Councillor Ross and then over to Councillor Sandhu.
I agree with that. It's not, it's not, there's not a rush. This is not a rush to be done. It's not a piece of equipment that's going to be used again. I don't believe it's just, it's going to be a historical piece. So if we put a pause on it and they may get some more funds through different community groups and different things that they're doing, and we may, be able to find some money later on. So I can't support it at this point either, because we don't know how much more snow we're going to get even this year and even later on in this year. Not just now, but I mean, next fall. I remember it snowing here October 29th one time, so. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Sandhu.
Thank you. The reason I chose the snow removal was looking back, and I found the document for 2020 and 2021 that there was a reserve, there was excess funds left over, and we made a motion 2 years ago to allocate any excess money to a reserve for equipment or whatever's needed. So I have no problem getting more information from the fire department and postponing this, but I do support this. I think that it's not about a piece of equipment to be going to fight fires. It's about a piece of equipment that used to fight fires. And that, to me, I appreciate what they do outside of their scope as a fire department, as a group, and trying to build up the legacy, because who else is going to do it? We don't have staff. We can't have staff do it, or counselors. So these individuals, these firemen, they do this, they work hard to fundraise, and this is the last stop for them requesting. So I support postponing this, but I don't support not supporting it in this budget year. I think we can find the money, and that we should put some time into that. Thank you.
Mr. Fernandez.
If I may, working with BC Transit currently to get funding towards that building. So it would probably be appropriate to wait to see what the amount of funding, and I believe it's in the neighborhood of $18,000. So that's forthcoming. I'm not sure why the fire department would need additional money.
Okay, Councillor McGonigal.
I would move that this request be tabled until information from BC Hydro is
BC Transit.
or BC Transit, BC Hydro. Well, maybe they'll pay for the power there. And please don't take my comments that I don't appreciate the renovation. I think that is a very important piece of history. And I understand the importance of preserving our history. But I also look at the possibility of financial contributions from the general public to accommodate that as well, or other organizations that have already contributed. If we can pause just until April and then address this, that may be appropriate.
Okay, so maybe it's appropriate that we defeat the original motion.
There wasn't one because it wasn't seconded. Was it?
I seconded.
Oh, you seconded, sorry.
Because I
Sorry,
planted the seed.
a motion to table supersedes the motion on the floor.
Alrighty. So a motion to table this to a future date
And I do need
is
a
on the
second.
floor, and a seconder for that, please. Thank you. Good. Councillor Omaka, thank you. Any discussion on that anymore? I'll call the question. All those in favor? I think there's 2 hands up at the far end, correct? Yeah, gotcha. Opposed? None. Motion carries. Thank you. So now we can talk about the general fund budget estimates for 2022. That shows a 4.5% tax increase for this current year. So any discussion or a motion to move forward with it? Did I see a hand yet?
Just bear with me, I'm scrolling through the lines.
All right, thanks. I just don't want to get tired of going back and forth. All right, so staff has prepared a set of numbers for us that show a 4.5% increase in taxation for the year 2022. We need to approve that set of numbers or not. Any discussion before we entertain a motion? Councilor McGonigal, thank you.
Through you, if I may, there are a couple of line items here that we have no control over. If you can look at library, for instance, we don't have the control over, well, with our representative, we have control in the budget process, but we don't have direct input on the tax increase within the library. Also in the police tax levy, that's incremental as per our population. Fortunately, we're below 5,000 and don't have to pay for the full policing costs, which would be exceptionally more than this. So aside from the ones that we have no control over, they also have a contribution to the total tax increase. And again, 4.5% increase is a total of $99,000, as was stated at a previous budget meeting. Although I'm not comfortable with 4.5, I think you have to look outside the percentages. Percentages scare people, but 99% of the time, there you go, they don't mean a financial hit as large as the percentage shows. So I will move the 4.5% increase for this year, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you very much, Councilor McGonigal. Councilor Sandu, are you seconding? Okay. Moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion on this? Go ahead, Councilor McGonigal.
I just want to thank staff for their hard work in getting us here today with a very tight budget. And giving us options to try to accommodate a lesser impact to our community. And I really appreciate all the hard work that you put in, especially from some of my requests. I know I can be a soapbox rambler at times, but I am a taxpayer as well, and on fixed income. Council indemnities certainly do not accommodate a large increase yearly, and neither do pensions that people are currently on. And COVID has had a significant impact on people's incomes as well, and I tried to take that into consideration as well. So I appreciate staff's input and my fellow councilors for all the hard work that you have done as well.
Any more hands? Thank you, Councilor McGonigal. So I see no more hands. So I'll call the question. All those in favor of approving the 2022 budget numbers with a 4.5% tax increase? All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries. Thank you very much. And I too appreciate all the work of staff and their patience. Well, we took a little extra time to go through these numbers, and I know it's been a couple of weeks, maybe 2.5. And thank you for patiently waiting so you can move forward with the next step of your work. So next we have the general fund 5-year financial estimates. So we do need a motion to approve those numbers. as presented. And of course, as you know, every year we move forward, we amend the following or that year. And but that doesn't mean we can't amend any numbers in future years right here and now. But that's not usually the common practice, but so we're looking to approve budget numbers essentially from 2022 to 2026 tonight. Moved by Councilor McGonigal. These are always the tough ones, moves to make. And Councillor Austin, you're going to get this one. And Councillor Sandu, were you going to speak or? Okay, go ahead.
Sorry, no, I was just going to second it. I didn't know somebody seconded it.
Okay. Yeah. Your neighbor on my screen did.
But I will. And
Go
again, legislatively, you are required to submit a 5-year financial plan. It's a forecast of what the intent of the organization is moving forward. Just to give a number moving forward for accommodating those financial projects. So again, they can be changed at the given fiscal year and probably will be. But this is a forecast, and the current number, 2022, is the concrete number that we have just approved at this committee and will be moving forward for approval at our regular council meeting. So it is legislatively required to have the 5-year financial plan approved at the same time, I believe. If I'm wrong, please throw me in the lobby.
There's an app for that. Councillor Sandu, go ahead.
Thank you. Under expenditures, under transfer to building reserve fund, is that the town hall renovation?
Could be any municipal building.
Any municipal building? Okay, thank you.
So it'll be there forever.
Any more hands? Okay, then I'm going to call the question on the motion. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, that motion carries as well. Well, once again, thank you very much for your comments, questions. This is tough work, probably the hardest motions we ever have to make and face the public on. So staff can go to work now. And Mr. Fernandez, you'll be bringing all this back in its final form to the next council meeting? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay. So now let's go to E, and I believe Councilor McGonigal has some news about the CBRD and how to engage in that process in the budget.
Stop sharing.
Presenting.
Yeah, please. Thank you, Mayor Day. Through to yourself and staff, I just sent an email to council and our CAO on the link for the public engagement on the CBRD budget process. That is February 17th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. virtually. There's an opportunity for questions and comments and clarification on the increase that are proposed within this year's CBRD budget. If it's possible to put that on our website and Facebook page so people would have that link, I think it's important that people understand the increases that are proposed for the regional district functions that we do participate in. I'm looking at the Schedule E impact for the town of Lake Couch, and it's showing a $19.34 increase this year in Lake Couch and recreation. I found that number to be a little alarming, considering the budget discussions going forward had indicated an almost 0% increase. So I'm just wondering what happened there. I'll get clarification on that. Solid waste, as always, has gone up $7.79. There's some equipment purchases within that have been approved. General government, with the implementation of the regional emergency response that we endorsed and other municipalities have, there is a need for bodies to accommodate that work. Legislatively, we are lacking in some aspects of our emergency management, and these will be accommodated through those increases. I believe I did send you all Schedule E. If not, I will do it again. It is on the CBRD website. In this one, it's showing an 8.46% average increase for the town of Lake Cowichan home, which would be $55.56 per year on the CBRD portion. So that was one of the reasons I was looking at some possibilities of keeping ours as low as possible. So February 17th, 6:30 to 8 p.m. There will be a link on how to get on there, and hopefully there's quite a few people that will log in and ask their questions.
Thank you very much. Councillor Sandhu.
Well, I just want to thank Councillor McGonigal for all his hard work at the CBRD table. I watched Thursday's budget meeting of 7.5 hours. Quite entertaining. I think we're a very fortunate body in front of us right now. And again, it's the details that I appreciate the information that you're sending us so that we actually can see what impacts for our community. So thank you.
And unlike the library and the police levy, we do have input on these budgets. So if there's anything that is alarming, I think it's important that not only us, but the public can bring that forward virtually. They were not very well attended last year, so I'm hoping that with some advertising, we can get a few more people within our western region. It's area F, I in the town on that night. So we'll see what the impacts will be moving forward. But thank you for that. It was a long meeting.
Thank you, Councillor McGonigal. And I'll just sort of wet your whistle on the answer of the Cowichan Lake Rec. I posed a question to our administrator today, and he thinks, without seeing and being through all the discussions you have, but this will help and hopefully understand the answer if you get the same one. It was an actual tax decrease at Cowichan Lake Rec, but because the requisitions in parts of the West End here didn't change much, we ended up paying a higher proportion because of our high assessed value. But I'm still not buying it yet, 100%. But the CEO explained it to me, but I'm still not buying it. Not that he's wrong, it's just it's not sitting properly.
I can certainly understand that with the reclassification of forestry lands that have undertaken for the past 4 years, no increases in that. When you look at our surrounding regional district partners, a major proportion of that is within the forestry allocation of assessments. So I can certainly understand that, given that house assessments have gone up approximately 43%. Forestry has not moved. So that could be an excellent answer, Mr. Fernandez. But I will get some clarification on the impacts of that through our financial department of the regional district.
Yeah, thank you.
Your Worship, I guess you might buy it at the end, so I may be looking for a financial reward.
I got some chocolate chip cookies.
As long as they're under $200.
It's a better answer than I had. So thank you very much. Okay, so no notice of motion. Question period. This is where we'll pause for 3 minutes to allow the public to call in or email any questions to items on this agenda. So the phone number is 250-749-6681, extension 102. Once again, that phone number is 250-749-6681, extension 102. Or you can email your question now or email questions at any time to general@lakecowichan.ca. That's general@lakecowichan.ca. See you all at 5:03-ish. Okay, it's 5:03, so everybody wants to come back. Just waiting for Mr. Fernandez. Perhaps he's on the phone.
Yeah, just bear with me. I just forgot to check the emails. There are no emails or telephone calls.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Next, number 12, we have in camera. Mr. Fernandez, could you describe the reasons for going in camera tonight?
Yes, indeed. Section 92 of the community charter requires that before a meeting or part of a meeting is to be closed to the public, council must state by resolution why the meeting is to be closed. And the basis on which the meeting is to be closed falls under section 91B of the community charter, dealing with personal information about an identifiable individual who's been considered for a municipal award or honor, and section 91C dealing with labor relations or other employee relations.
Thank you very much. Motion to go in camera, please. Moved by Councillor Bomaka, second by Councillor Austin. All those in favor? Opposed? Seeing none, motion carried. So you've just received a separate invite. So we'll have to leave this one and see you on the next one. For those of the staff that aren't going to be there, we'll see you when we see you. Thank you.
Yeah, okay, right. Thank you. Bye-bye.